Let's tone the backs of our thighs, our hamstrings in this practice. Do people ever say to you, "Oh, I love to stretch. I love yoga for stretching"? Yoga certainly includes stretching, but a big part of it is about getting tone to the muscles to become familiar with the muscles and what feels balanced and what feels imbalanced. So today we'll be using a blanket or a towel or something, and we'll start in all fours position or tabletop position. So let's begin. In that tabletop position, if you want extra padding for your knee, you can create that by double folding your mat. Grab your towel or blanket and step your right foot to the blanket. And have your left hip right over your knee, your right knee right over the ankle. And draw your foot forward. What happens with the washcloth or the blanket, whatever you're pushing forward, is that it tends to wobble as you push the foot forward. So see if you can do this slowly so that there's no wobbling, no wiggling of the blanket. You have to go really slow. And we're working to strengthen your hamstring now as we do this. So you reach the foot forward, your foot is nice and flat, and you're pulling in from the base of the toe to the back knee. Just getting this nice engagement on the back side of the legs as you do this engaged action, pulling in. And 3 more cycles here, as slow as you can go. Just pull in. So you start to feel like, especially when you're pulling in slowly, you start to feel the back side of the leg engaged nicely. So as you press down through the blanket, pull in. All of this really engages the back side of the leg so nicely that it really protects your hip nicely. All right, so let's see if we can go a little bit lower here. Now, this is not for all of us, but see if you can come a little bit lower in your lunge. And if you need your blocks to have support, because sometimes it becomes a little bit of a balance act, you can take your hands on blocks as you go just a little bit deeper here. You keep your back toes really working as you reach your foot forward again and you pull in oh so slowly. And if this doesn't work for you, just come back to the original pose we were in. You want to slow it down as you reach forward. You pull in, and one more time. You reach forward and pull in without wobbling. And come back to tabletop position and either child's pose or just with your toes tucked under, your heels hugging in. You might want to give yourself just a bit of a Achilles stretch or downward facing dog, your choice. So we'll combine all of these actions when we come to our standing pose so that we can really engage now more fully the front leg hamstring action. Let's trade sides. So step your left foot on the blanket. Start with the knee right over the ankle and do that same thing. And the cool thing is you start to notice the difference in the action of the left side compared to the right side. So you're kind of drilling down to get a lot of pressure pushing down before reaching your towel out. So just do this as slowly as possible, as engaged as you can be, reaching forward. Like as you start to explore your own biomechanics, you start to kind of understand like which muscle groups you need to work on just a little bit more and in what way. Keep this action without the wobble. And maybe you can feel the engagement on the back side of the leg. Maybe you can even feel like which toe seems to be pressing down more than the others. Really engaging the foot very fully. So, all the way from the toes to the pelvis, you feel the result of your work as you reach forward with full engagement. You pull in. Now, if you'd like to go a little bit deeper, see if you can just get a little bit of stretch in the quadricep and the back leg as you draw forward and pull in. So the back leg is working nicely. You're getting just a nice strength through the back leg as you reach your front leg forward and slowly pull it in. And two more. Reach forward. Seems so easy, but if you're really doing all the actions, if you're engaging so fully, you'll start to feel like the hip area get slightly tired, your hamstring, just fatigued slightly. Last time, one more, you're in it fully. And come back again to child's pose with your toes tucked under so that we can get the back side of the leg still very active. Or downward facing dog, whichever you prefer. Just pause for a moment. We'll be coming to do standing poses now, so you can move your blanket out of the way. And as you're ready, make your way up to the top of the mat to come to Tadasana. So you're at the top of the mat with your feet parallel to each other. At the top of the mat, step your right foot back and you come to this crescent lunge. Now imagine that the front foot is doing that same action that we were doing. You're pressing down and you're reaching it forward and pulling it back. So you've got this nice strong action of the back leg. So you're not just collapsing into the pose, you're actually getting this lifting quality as you reach your arms up. You keep this nice fullness. Exhale, reach your hands back as you draw your heart forward. Do this two more times. Keep your front leg really strong, pulling in. Reach your arms up in a crescent lunge. Exhale, reach your heart forward. You're pulling in, pulling your legs in toward one another and toward the midline. One more time. Inhale, reach up. Exhale and reach forward. Reach forward with your heart, reach back with your hands, and step your back foot forward. And maybe you felt that in the right hip. Let's try the opposite side. So step your left leg back. Same thing as you set up for crescent lunge. Imagine that your front leg is doing that same action. You're pressing into the blanket, reaching it forward without wobbling, pulling back. So you've got this really strong action of the back leg. You're not sagging into the pose. You're getting this lifting quality as you reach your arms up. And exhale, bow forward as you reach back. 2 more. Inhale, expand, and lift up and back. Exhale, reach your hands back. 1 more. Inhale, reach up, reach your gaze up. Exhale, reach back. Inhale, rise up, step your back foot forward, and pause again. Before going into Virabhadrasana 2, let's come to our knees again so we can come to a version of Virabhadrasana 2 that works nicely for us. So as you come to kneeling position, start with your right foot out to the side. And as you come to work the same thing that we are doing, you'll come kind of at a diagonal. It won't be straight to the side, otherwise that takes your hip points in a kind of wonky direction. So just at a slight diagonal as you reach forward, and same thing, without wobbling the blanket, try to pull in so that you get the back side of the leg very active. So you reach forward, you pull in, and again, reach forward and pull in. All right, let's come to the opposite side. And as you do that, just add a little padding for your right knee if you wish, as you reach out to the side and pull in, and again reach out, pull in. See if you can tone the back side of the leg there. Reach out without wobbling, pull in. Right, and one more. Reach out and pull in. Right. So let's come to Virabhadrasana number 2, and with that same engagement that we learned. So as you draw your pose over to the right and pull in, you get that strong action pulling in to really engage your hamstring nicely. Hamstrings plural, sorry. Inhale, reach your arms up. Good. Keep this nice fullness here. Now exhale, reach your hand back as you straighten your leg. Good. And inhale, lift yourself up, Virabhadrasana 2 again. Take your right arm up and reach it back. You're still doing that same action with the front foot. Let's try that one more time. Back to Virabhadrasana 2. Before you straighten your leg, and you're pulling in from the front leg to the back leg to reach over. And inhale back to Virabhadrasana 2 so that you come to that warrior version. You're still pulling in with the front leg. And one more time, Virabhadrasana 2, to pull the front leg in as you get the extension of the upper body. Inhale, rise up. Good. Reach back and come back to parallel feet. As you come to parallel feet, with your toes reaching out, not something that we do very often, this external rotation of the upper legs. Bend your knees. Just draw your pelvis down, not so far that your thighs come parallel to the mat. You're still got the thighs kind of lifted there. Now lean over to your right as you straighten your left leg. Reach your arms out to the right side. Now lean over to the left. Reach your arms out to the left side. Do the opposite. Reach your arms out to the right as you straighten your left leg. Reach your arms out to the left. Back to the right. To the left. And with your feet, you're doing the same thing. You're pulling in and come back to the center and stand up to come to Virabhadrasana 2 on the opposite side. Press down with the front foot, pull in, lift your arms up in Virabhadrasana 2. As if you're pulling your foot back toward the back leg. Reach your front hand back. Inhale, Virabhadrasana 2 again. Reach up and back. And again, Virabhadrasana 2. Keep your front leg really inspired as you pull in to reach it back and come to Virabhadrasana 2. Reach up and back. Last time, Vira 2. Pull from the front foot back as you straighten the front leg. Come to Virabhadrasana 2 and Goddess Warrior. Reach up and back and back to Vira 2 and release your hands. And one last time, that same position where we are externally rotating your legs. You're pulling your feet in toward each other. So now you have the opportunity to work both legs in the same way that we were doing on the towel before, dropping down and drawing over to your right, draw over to your left, to your right, to your left, to your right, to your left, and back to center, and press down to pull the feet in and rise up. Very nice. Let's come to all fours position again. And your choice, you can come to child's pose or downward facing dog and pause. Just to assimilate all these actions that we did. We are really taking our focus to the front leg in these poses of Virabhadrasana 1 and Virabhadrasana 2 to see how we could engage the hamstrings more fully in those poses. So now that you've worked the hamstrings nicely, this is a pose, if you're in downward facing dog, of lengthening, getting this quality of lengthening the backs of the legs. If you're in child's pose, you're just working to lengthen the back body with the fullness of your exhale breath. So now that you've toned your hamstrings so nicely, feel free to move into the rest of your practice. Do some seated poses, some supine poses, or simply release and rejuvenate and assimilate all of these actions in Shavasana. Namaste.